This is where the window goes. This is the before. Window's gonna be right there in the middle. So this is the inside wall. Notice the whole wall here has no window. There's some windows on the side on the French doors, but we need to put a window again right there. Alright, so the hole is partially made. I had to find out where the studs were. One here, one here. They're about actually 20 inches apart, which is pretty wide. So 20 inches over here also. I made it right on the next stud here. You see? And you have to be careful with wiring because the wiring at. Here it is. There's a wire there. Goes all the way through here. I marked it out. Through there also. And goes down to connect to there. Right. So once I remove these studs, I'll move the wire down to go underneath to the bottom. But I marked out, I tried to measure exactly. I gave it 3 inches on each side. So this is, my window that I'm putting on is 48 by 72. So I made this 54 inches wide from there to there. And then 76 inches from there to the very top stud. I am going to put another support stud across and down on each side, so it just helps support the wall here a little more. But this is where we're at. Okay, so I've been using a Mason cement blade on a saw and just slicing up. The only thing is that it's about, the deepest I can go is about 1.5 inches. Sorry, 2.5 inches. Maybe a little more than 2.5 inches. But the brick thickness is actually 3 inch. So I'm gonna have to go back to hardware store and get a bigger blade. I have one of these also that I can use. This you can actually take the protective cover off of it and fit up to like 10 inch, which I think I'm gonna have to get a 10 inch blade. So a 10 inch blade there, we'll be able to cut the rest of it off. Alright, so once we remove moved this brick first, then wiggle the next one out and the next one out. Just hit it with a little sledgehammer or hammer. These here on the side broke off also, but these are all going to be wrapped part of the little siding thing that I'm going to do. You'll see that when I get to that. Alright, so I was not able to cut the whole thing. I just cut about 2.5 inches all the way up and down. Same thing on this one, then I went a little bit sideways also, and then what I also did is I got the drill bit with the mason drill, and I drilled like every other brick up and down just to make sure it all separated. What I don't want to happen is I don't want to remove some of these and then crack and break some of the other ones. So I just want a nice even break all the way down. Alright, so we started removing some of the bricks, and this is just a matter of grabbing a sledgehammer and pounding some of these out and taking them off bit by bit. As long as you've made the cuts, it kind of stays pretty even on both sides. Alright. So just keep banging at the corners until, there you go. Break, load. Watch your toes. Okay, so we started removing some of the moisture protection off. This side was perfect on the board here, but this side here I'm going to have to cut just with a little jigsaw all the way around to even it out. We removed one of them. This one's a little harder, so I think it has a little more support on it. I was able to age out enough so I can remove the actual wire that was on here. I'm going to run that through the bottom. On On top, I did put a 2x4, screwed a couple, I think 5 screws all the way down, just to give it a little support while I'm working on this other support I have on here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna right here put two 2x4s with something in the middle. This in the middle, and frame it all the way down on each side to give it an extra support for above the window. We don't want any weight really on the window. The window frame should be holding the roof, not the window itself. All right. Okay, so I measured these out exactly the distance, which is actually 58 1/4 from stud to stud. Put this in the middle, put this on top, and this is going to be standing up right there, like that, all screwed together. And this would be pretty much the thickness of one of these to help support it on the top. All right. Okay, I just finished putting up the frame. This is the 2x4 and 2x4 and a piece of plywood in the middle. I screwed it all together to give it support on top. This is just a 2x4 also that's going all the way down to the floor. Same thing on this side. On this side I made a little wedge on the back. That's why I kind of marked it out, so I make sure I don't put any screws here, because that's where the electrical wire is going. Electrical wire is going under there. I made a hole there also. It wasn't long enough, so I had to add a little bit of wire to it. And the connections, I left it right in here, out of the way from everything. And then I'll probably put the actual thing either there or on the side, somewhere around there. It's underneath the window. Still got to trim this one off, obviously, and then create some kind of a support underneath it to kind of hold it all in. Whoa. Fell on the couch. Alright, but that's pretty much it. I did, once again, I screwed this top part in, and then I wedged these two 2x4s up to support it. I don't think it's really supported. It wasn't really supporting very much. I think just removing, I was just more afraid and just being a little more cautious than I had been, than I probably should have been, but better safe than sorry, right? I didn't want anything here to fall down or break or anything. But so here's the window installed. Still got a few more braces to put up. These right here. I'm going to put a few more in there just to make sure it's nice and sturdy, and then put some underneath also, strengthen it up. But that's the idea. So then sheetrock will be right here to the end and all the way to here, nice and flat. Same thing on this side. Here I have to get a little creative. Try to put something like that, or maybe something longer like that to kind of, actually there it goes right there, something like that all the way across, and I can wrap the sheetrock right underneath it. So I'll do and before sheetrock you also have to throw some insulation all the way around this, just to make sure no temperature doesn't affect there. I was able to hook up the switch sideways. I have to find a special one that kind of looks nice sideways. I think it'll look, I try to center it. I did have to put an extension in there, if you can see it in there. But that's what it looks like. Ooh. Oh, I mean, screw anything in, I always drill a little bit in just to make sure the actual studs don't crack. So then I kind of mount the screws in there just to kind of get them where they need to be. These are going to go on the frame, on the outside frame here, all the way up. I extended it down about 5.5 inches so I can make a nice little square all the way around it. This is how I mounted it. I ended up going flat down here. This supports it. I'm going to put another screw down here once I cut this to size so you can see over there it's too long. Again, I'm gonna put another one here. The reason I'm doing the side is because I'm gonna have some left over. See, those leftovers right there are perfect. I can size them there instead of trying to, you know, waste extra studs. So I put this one flat, this one, bottom one flat also, and the one on top flat that way. And it gives me a little more space here also to nail it in, put the siding and the trim. All right. Alright, so the framing is done. You can see I just added 2x4s all the way around on this side, and I wedged one in the back also, just to make sure everything's leveled up and straight. It's never going to be perfect, but it's as straight as can be. So now, bought some siding. I already cut a siding out to fit exactly there, and we're going to screw that on. I'm going to cut a few other pieces here to put on the top part, one on each side, and there'll be a whole U with the, you know, parts on each side. You just sprayed a little insulation foam. It's expanding quickly, so before it expands too much, I'm gonna go ahead and put the cover on it. We got some rain last night and this morning, but you can see the setting is all in there right in time. I was able to use 2 pieces, like I said. I did the whole side. I even did underneath it. So, the plan is to paint this before I put the trim on it. We'll see what it all looks like afterwards. Alright, so doing a little bit of painting now before I put the trim on. You see a little bit of the side color here. It's supposed to be matching the top. And then the trim will actually be that darker color that's up there, all the way around it. Right. Okay, so a little bit of change of plans. I'm going to run another wire up, put a switch right there, and put a little recessed light right in the middle over there, and put a light on the outside. I know, after I did everything and painted on the outside, I'm going to put a little recessed light. I'm sorry, like a spotlight. Kind of like that one that's over there, but just one heading that way. The problem is that when we at night, when we have the backyard light on, just for safety, that light shines right into this window. So we're gonna put a light out here and make it shine the backyard that way, so it doesn't light up the window so much. I'm gonna put 2 switches there. A little switch, oh, it's right here. So on and off, just side by side. One will be for the inside, one will be for the outside. I am not an electrician, full disclosure, but I do know, you know, positives and negatives and ground. So this is the wire that's coming from outside from the breaker box. I'm hooking it up positive, negative, and ground. And then there's already a wire that was positive, negative, and ground going out there to, you know, the next connectors over there where the TV connects and the, you know, alarm clock and stuff. So I'm just adding another one, positive, negative, and ground, up to there. Okay, positive goes there, then I run a positive line out up there, then another negative down to the negative port, and then that'll fix one switch, all grounded. Then the next one, same thing, going to the other light that's outside, positive up, connected, and negative down to the other switch, and that should make the other switch work. Alright. Alright, so I just put the base on there. I am going to put another shelf on top, a nice shelf that kind of wraps a little bit around it. And I have like a little strip of trim that goes on the very bottom of it, just like most windows. Okay, the shelf is nice and sturdy. I threw some insulation back there, just a little bit to throw for the cracks and gaps. I don't think I need it, but it's there. I was able to put the switch. It was a little bit of a challenge. I had them backwards, you know, up and down and stuff. So this is going to be the outside switch. This is going to be the inside switch. They're off. They're on. On. The wire's there. You can see on the outside, when I turn this on, you can barely see. Oh, there, you can see clearly. And on the inside, I just have the wires here, where it's gonna have this right in the middle. Sink. Wait, there it goes right there. Oh, sorry. Right in the middle. Nice and pretty. Alright guys, so here's the lighting. It's dark outside. You can see outside with the spotlight. Now inside, that's an adjustable LED light. Has highs, mediums, and lows. It's not bad. 30 bucks. The window's really dirty right now.